that the whole system is being built with expansion and modification in mind. So, if
I
you
mean,
want to
it's
have
built from scratch inside of Unreal. Most other games like Squad use a third-party system, so it's going to have its quirks, but it's all there. Text and voice, so...
Well, everybody, welcome to another Operation Doorstop playtest. This time we're going to be having a pop.
Gun modifications in base game. Yeah, we're still talking about how we want to do that. Again, kind of like with the weapon jamming and failure thing, we want to have a more robust weapon modification system in place that maybe is not like something you would see in a game like this normally, and probably wouldn't be like vanilla, so to speak. But we do want to like have that functionality. So again, if you wanted to run a server and have people be able to kind of like kit their weapons out a little bit more custom, that would be an option. But that'll probably be an iterative process. At start, it'll probably be more along the lines of like you just pick a variation of a class or something like that. But then eventually we do want to have, like I said, more robust systems where you can, look at the gun and say, hey, I want to swap this optic, I want this handguard, so on and so forth.
An advanced medical system has already been started talking about that and figuring that out weeks, possibly months ago.
We want to make that... again, this is the thing that you guys need to keep in mind. I think that the intent and the purpose is always to kind of go above and beyond with a lot of these systems to more advanced levels that may not be what you see on your average, just vanilla out-of-the-box server, so that players can have the choice to scale up to advanced and down all the way to very basic like it is right now, right? That's the goal. We want you to be able to kind of pick and choose that experience that you and your community want. So
the classes already have rules.
Yeah.
They're just not as robust as you see in like PR or anything, but they will become key roles like tanker, observer, marksman. They'll have their own set of things. Like right now, the rifleman is the only one that can supply ammo. Squad leader is the only one that can put down rallies. Everybody can build structures except the squad leader, but he's the only one that can place it down. Medic has all that stuff. Yeah.
I have talked about this idea actually in the past. I think it would be fucking cool if there was an option on your server to have something like a dedicated radio guy where the radio itself projected in like a local vicinity someone talking on it and you had to talk into that. I think that'd be fucking cool.
Well, like a combination of Day of Infamy, where you have to have your radio operator next to you the whole time?
Yeah, but that's different because that's just like you have to have the guy next to you. I'm talking about like if I left a radio in the middle of the field and I went and talked on it 100 meters away, a guy who's walking by.
I mean, that's cool. I foresee a lot of trolling through that mic.
No, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like we talked about this back when we were working on it in Warfare, right? It'd be cool if you had a radio guy and you actually had to like talk to the radio guy to communicate to the other squads, and it used the VoIP system in that sense. You know what I mean? I see a place for both, right? Like the traditional, what you're used to seeing in like Squad and games like that, where it's like. It's like in Postscriptum.
Well, I mean, that's the whole beauty of the SDK. That is a possibility. It can be built now, but we primary devs don't have the time to do that. But like, if we can get to it, we'll get to it. If not, modders will have access to the SDK soon here enough, and go ham on it. That's the cool thing.
I think it would be cool to have the option. So you could have like just the straight immersion servers,
Right.
where you can't, it's World War II, and I'm not talking on a handheld radio to my guy that's across the battlefield, because that's not how they did it back then, right? I mean, even the way that a lot of modern theater games do their radio still does technically kind of take a lot of shortcuts. Even in like Arma and stuff like that. And Arma does have mods where you have to like take your hand off the weapon and actually activate the radio and things like that. I see the benefit of all of those things. It just depends on what experience you're trying to craft.
Yes, curious. Our lead programmer is, I would call, a genius. So he's very good at all those things. Pretty much everything that you could possibly need exposed, he'll eventually expose it.
Exposed.
Yeah. Like, again, I know it was said earlier, but like, people get this misconception that like, oh, give me the source code, give me the source code. It's like, well, we're building, it's in UE4, we can't. Like, we're not legally allowed to. And even if we did build it ourselves, like, your source code is literally the one thing that you own, you control. If you give it away, then that's just dumb. So you expose things and just let modders go crazy with it. And now, there are people who are like, oh, well, I want to code some things. It's like, well, then go build your own thing. Go build your own engine. We're just giving you all the tools.
It's not an open source project.
It's not an open source project.
Open source project.
It's UE4.
I know some people misconstrue the terminology.
Oh, no. I'm not shouting out my lead programmer. Trust me. He knows he's good.
Pukiko's best kept secret.
Yeah, here at Pukiko, we don't keep secrets. Insider jokes, man. I like them. Yeah, we'll have all that stuff, because you also gotta remember, like, half of us here were modders, still modders, are modders, blah blah blah. Like, we know what y'all want, and then when we bring on more modders, who come into the team, they tell us more things that they want to see, and we listen to the community. Like, I read all you guys' comments. Trust me.
Hey, just FYI. Hey, so one thing to go over. Please don't inquire about the identities of like different members of the development if they're like not in this room. If they want to be identified, they will. But there's a lot of obviously. Okay, you did. All right.
Yeah, we addressed that. Yeah.
So just if they're not in this room, don't ask about it. There's some people that either don't want to be known, or it's a problem if they would be known, or maybe they're working on different projects or whatever. Don't do that. All right.
Big brother.
Now that we know that.
Yeah.
So what's coming up next?
Electronic farts.
I don't really know about the license thing with GitHub. I know you can put some things on GitHub. I don't know about it being open source, though. I mean, again, there's so much.
First of all, Unreal will never give you permission to put anything of theirs when it comes to their code at all. If you do, then you are. Yeah, that's a legal shitstorm. You don't want to mess with that. They got more money than everybody, so they will.
But
yeah.
There's something to point out here, though. I think it's different if like for example, if someone makes an
what's the command for
Yo,
showing FPS?
what up?
Stat space FPS.
I was trying to show FPS.
Yo, this is People
stat
Gaming back at it again.
There's something to keep in mind here. So like, giving an example of like a player controller, right? Most games are programming and creating their own player controller. We are using the default UE4 player controller, right? So like, we're not gonna open source that. I mean, it's just there, right? It's just part of Unreal 4, right? So like, if someone's gonna go on GitHub and open source the things they coded, that is not Unreal Engine. That's different than
Okay.
open sourcing
My hands
Unreal
look
Engine,
like
right?
I don't know,
Correct me if I'm wrong, Poopy,
rubber.
but that's how I understand it.
Oh well, I was just correcting you on
It's because
it's not the
you're
player
Russian.
controller, it's the Unreal Mannequin.
I'm gummy
Sure,
man.
sure.
Because you can make the
That's
player
what
controller,
I mean.
but yeah,
Layman's
that's
No,
the
terms.
you
gist
are
of it.
Russian.
635,
You're doing too
pretty
much for
much. I mean, there's a lot more to
Yeah.
it there. I would even add a little bit of Far Cry 5 or 4 or
That's like the
5, 3, 4, 5.
simplistic way I explain
There's a
it to
lot
people.
to it. You guys, there's other stuff that you guys have not also seen that we just cannot show because we just haven't been given permission. And yeah, stuff that we did stuff that before even Epic did it. We just haven't shown it yet. But there's like a bunch of different games and mainly features that we've built up, our programmers built up, and other people have built up in the past.
Well, I'm going in.
And we come from we all come from different games that we love, and we bring that to the table, and then we see what works, what doesn't, what people like. We try to hone in on what you guys want more so, but we also want to stick to our
Let's think.
our mantra,
Yeah,
our way
I
of
wanna see
things.
big
Like we don't
ass
want to
flank.
just make another
King of flank, okay,
Battlefield
okay.
2 clone, Call of Duty clone. They've already cornered that market.
Inside.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the whole point of this project, right? Like,
Yep.
You
Get
know,
up, first,
everyone's
get
kind of
up
like
first, come on.
regurgitating the same theaters of war every year and charging you all, big bucks for it. We're like,
I'm going upstairs.
you don't own World War II. You know,
Ah,
you don't
shit.
own
Whoa,
most of
whoa,
the shit
whoa,
you're
whoa,
making
hold up.
anyway. Oh, I know.
owns
EA
Wake
owns
Island.
World War II.
They know
And
they own Wake Island
I know.
apparently. Yeah, no.
Of course. I forgot about that. But
I'm going rooftop, bro.
Yeah, dude. Bro.
But yeah, this is the whole purpose of this project, man. Like this is it's a Molotov cocktail, so to speak, on this portion of the industry. Kind of like, hey, let's force everyone to kind of innovate here because you're not going to be able to charge money for a game in this genre when you could just go and get it for free at the same or better quality, right? So.
I mean, that's the thing in the past. I mean, that's what got me. That's how Blue kind of got me to sign
That's why
up
I'm here,
in a
man.
way.
Yeah, I'm here.
He
To
told me that,
change
hey,
some
we're gonna
shit
make
up, man.
this
Yeah,
game. It's gonna
I
have
don't care
all this
about
stuff.
working in the industry like other people, man.
Right,
I'm here
yeah,
to
well,
They're
fucking-
coming.
It's gonna have all this stuff. Oh, and it's gonna be free. Sure. At first, it may not have like that AAA, flair and great looking graphics and all that, but we'll get there. But it's gonna be free forever. Never gonna charge it for it. You're never gonna have a loot crate. No in-game app store. Blah blah blah. Like all that's just predatory, in my opinion. When the entire continent of Europe literally says, "Hey, this company, you are literally gambling with consumers. Stop it," and they still keep doing it. It's like their whole goal is not to build a good product. It's to get you to spend your money. That's not our goal. We want to make a game, which we're doing, which we've done pretty much already, that we like playing, and we want you guys to play it. And you guys already tell us all the time.
Very true. Very true.
Just what you see now. Now, there are some things for us artists that we get a little ticked off about, which is, like we feel what we have built so far, some of it looks better than other games. Yet we've looked at those games deeply and we're like, wait, they're barely pushing 1K textures here. And why are people saying that looks better? And it's
635. It's just the thing of it is, man, is like, I mean, you have heard how many times you kind of answered the same question about, will this be added or that be added? Like,
hey, welcome
it's just
to the stream. How's it going?
it's not a normal concept, and it's not what people are used to seeing.
I'm doing
so
alright. How are you doing, Fisher?
it's not very obvious straight
You're having
away
a good
what
one,
it
man.
even is,
It's
or like what
nice
we're making. And
Friday.
to be
Chill
fair as
out.
well, like we're not really focused on appealing to the average gamer, right? Like our main focus right now is trying to appeal to like the modding community and like what do those guys need, right? Because those are gonna be, I mean, just look at Arma, right? Like, who plays vanilla Arma? Nobody, right? Like it's all about the
Not
mods,
since
right?
2002.
Yeah, like Operation Arrowhead, you could play without, mods, I guess. Even then, though, you're going to be running Acre or TFAR or something like that, right? Or an Ace, of course, right? So, we're right now, like, we're not that's I think a big misinterpretation is people think, oh, this is just another platoon shooter like squad, but it's like, no, that's like the tip of the iceberg, but you're not looking underneath the water and looking at the entire rest of the picture, right? And that's hard to convey to people.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where
this not even
people will believe it when they see it, and we just need to keep building it. And as long as we build it, they'll figure it out. Yeah, people hear free and they think, oh, free to play, War Thunder, Enlisted, whatever, right? No, not the same thing, right?
Yeah, I know.
The whole free thing is, yeah, it's all very conceptual. It's very deliberate. It's very intentional. The project doesn't work if it,
Oh, don't worry, Furious. Gooms is gonna take care of you. Trust me.
Yeah. I'll just say this.
You saw that
I already
comment,
have a 35-page game design document for my take on OT, so that's a
like
future thing.
the other
We'll get
thing
into
to add
that
to what
later.
you just said about all that is that even beneath what you see as OHD and all of its little DLCs as a milsim tac shooter, what we've built so far, you can build other games that aren't necessarily a milsim or a tac shooter. You could literally build right now Left 4 Dead. You could build Fortnite with it, because that's what Fortnite's built on anyway. You could build, technically, if you just build in, do mod in some camera stuff, you can build an RTS with the AI we have. It's possible.
So, Ron, yeah, we're just not focused on branding. Yeah, when it's released, yeah, absolutely. But like I said, it's like people are, why isn't more marketing? We need more people. Like, no, like that would be honest. In my opinion, I think that would be counterintuitive, right? Like, I think if we tried to push, average gamers into this now, it would have the reverse effect because, everything that you guys are experiencing right now with the multiple theaters and all that, like, it's not like we're not going to continue developing content for those things and fleshing it out, but like I look at those things as more of like a demonstration
for hardcore gamers.
of what is effectively possible here. Like the way that we see it, if you make the framework, there's no reason why you can't make World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korean War, whatever, right? It doesn't matter. It's the framework, right? That's the most important thing. So that's usually what I encourage people to kind of look beyond.
Well, I will say that the original concept for the SDK was geared more towards Halo Forge, and then when I signed on and it was explained to me, it sounded more like Gary's mod, which it is, but there's still some stuff from Halo Forge kind of concepts and whatnot. But like, yeah. So yeah, you could think, yes, Gary's mod, Halo Forge, Far Cry's in-game level editor kind of stuff. It's all possible.
Curious. Yeah. Nobody has access to my game design document. I'm not sharing that with anybody until it's ready.
All right, I think he's talking about. Is he asking about yours or?
Yeah, he's asking about mine.
OHD.
I'm saying
I was gonna say,
Drakeling Labs doesn't even have access to that shit, man. I got that under.
Can I have your document?
Yeah, on his. Well, on OHDs as well. We can't just give that out. It's kind of like the secret sauce in a way.
Yeah. And then. Just going back to the $5 thing and like pushing people to the Patreon. Like, keep in mind as well, like, the Patreon is not the only thing funding this, right? Like, we do have a unique benefit of having it being Blue Drake Studio, right? He is an influencer. Every time that you guys see him do a sponsorship, a brand deal, he's making YouTube ad revenue on the website, things like that. That is all going back into OHD and developing OHD core. That is why we do all that stuff. Like you brought up earlier, I do a lot of the business development, things like that. I'm the one who's usually behind the scenes helping him negotiate and manage and handle all of those deals and keep a direct money flow coming into the studio. The Patreon helps a lot, but it is not the main source of revenue.
But this game is actually going to be for free once it comes out.
The Patreon helps us bring in, more people here and there that we can contract, get some extra content made, things like that. So like it's great to have more people on the Patreon, but we're not like super like I think people get the wrong impression about the Patreon all the time. They think I always love the like, oh, you say it's free but you're charging, and it's like, all right, you haven't thought about this for more than a minute, clearly. And then beyond that, a lot of people think that's like the entirety of the budget. It is not, right? Microprose is a publisher, but honestly, that's more publisher in name than anything. They don't really have any say or control or ownership of OHD, so. Yeah, I had to buy my.
Yeah,
I have to pay my fucking internet bill, man.
Right? Fuck, man, I had to be
Yeah.
born. All right, my parents spent $1 million to have me birthed into this world.
Bro, I
It
had to
costs
pay my
money.
rent, man. Shit, you know, it's like I gotta have a
Man,
room
the
to put
cardboard
my
box I
computer
live in
right?
costs money. All right, yeah. No, see, but people will
Yeah,
get
Coombs,
that deep, you know.
You should whoever has console access right now. You should add. We should add more bots. Like set the bots.
Okay.
Anything over 64 is gonna have issues. By the way,
That's fine.
just so you know.
Just set for like 50.
Damn.
You should have like at least 50 bots.
Oh, we lost this
Alright.
position as well. Fuck.
We'll have to wait for the
bro.
next map, but that's fine.
Well, I say 64 because up to 64, it's been optimized and all that stuff. But above that, it hasn't been touched just yet. I mean, obviously our goal is to get it way up, you know, all the way up to 120 players, real players, and also, you know, add some bots in there. But that's down the road. But
Okay,
that's all
next
on the
match,
table.
I think we'll have 50.
Let me get back.
No, the
Yes,
Patreon
there
does
there
come with
will
a key. What do
be.
you mean?
Pretty much the SDK is Blueprint. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
But so C++ stuff. Right now, I think I can say that because it's a custom build of the engine, if you do any code, it'll be more like a plugin, which is kind of how our stuff is structured anyway. So
The Patreon does come with keys. Read the tiers. It's all in there. If you aren't seeing it, it's either you need to check your email. When you backed on the Patreon, there should have been a message that came up. You can also go to the Patreon page itself for OHD and click My Membership at the top and use those links. All the keys are automatically delivered through itch.io.
Yeah, that's really how it works.
Everyone $5 and up. That's all. That's
But
all
the
it
thing
takes.
is, Fish
If you want to
Fingers,
get
I
in
really
on the
think
pre-alpha,
this
the very,
game
very,
will
very
be
early
interesting
stages,
'cause
it's only $5.
From my
Yeah,
standpoint,
you know,
gameplay-
I think there's a
gameplay
problem
improved.
with Patreon the past week because I've been
Gunplay is
getting a lot
better.
of people.
They worked on recoil as well.
Which tier did you do? I'll post the links in chat for you.
I mean, if you can get 128 players versus 128 players, that would be sick.
30 is Commander, so...
To answer the DLSS and what was it, FRS or FSR? That's down the road. Our programmer is definitely way ahead of that stuff, so yeah.
Did I get him? Did I just bonk that dude? Yo, okay. Base.
I mean, I want that. I mean, I'm running on a 7-year-old CPU and a 1070 Ti, so if I can't get things running at 60 FPS on my end, then I'm doing something wrong. I'm pretty much the optimizer, so I literally sit here all day making sure this stuff can run on the lowest end tier machine that we can possibly get it to run on. That's just to get more of you able to play, because I know not everybody has, you know, powerful rig. I mean, you guys would probably cry if you knew what our fucking lead programmer's rig was. Like, I cry every time I hear about it.
There you have it as well. The game will be actually focused on, you know,
And
making
maybe TI is still a great card.
accessibility.
No, it is. It's just when you're running on a 7-year-old CPU and 1333 megahertz fucking memory, it's slow as shit. But that's actually beneficial for me because then I could optimize it to run on practically anything that we've already stated in our minimum specs. I mean, you know, UE5 will be out. You know, we'll have at least a stable build of the engine in like maybe a year. At that point, if you're still running like anything lower than a 1060, then it's really
It
old.
still looks like potato. Oh shit.
Let's just hope the crypto miners don't suck up the GPUs again. Yeah, Furious. I mean, I feel you there. C++ is definitely you know, it's more on rocket science. It's like rocket science, psychology,
Oh shit.
a little bit of quantum physics all wrapped into one, in my opinion. But, you know, there's a reason why, like, you know, there's always those debates about, oh, what do you want to go with, C# or C++? And it's like, well, you know, C# is easier and all that. But if you know C++, you know your shit. But here's the thing. Lead programmer's already going to have support for C#. For the SDK, even Epic is going to have it in the future, which is why we're going to have it, because it'll just be easier. So yeah, so we're making this very, very accessible to people. So you don't even have to know C++, you can know just C#. So come from, you know, switch over from Unity. You know, why do you touch those guys? Yeah, come over to Unreal. Use our SDK.
I'm in a good spot. We're taking this back, baby.
I mean, they do have support for Python. You just have to do some plugin stuff. I do know for a fact that when you run a custom build of Unreal, if you want to use right now, before Unreal 5, so up to 427, to run Quixel Bridge, on a custom engine build, you have to actually use some Python code. You have to like code some stuff in and to get it to work, to like get all your assets from Quixel over. I told that to our programmer, and he was like, yeah, no, I don't have time for that right now. I was like, dang it. So we have to do some manual stuff. But yeah, Epic's going crazy. They're trying to make Unreal accessible to everybody, but we're also trying to make our SDK available to everybody, you know, accessible to everybody.
I mean, I'll tell you, all the steps Epic takes sure does help.
Definitely makes our job a little easier, but it also means we can go just crazy.
Epic does a lot for game development, guys. I think they get a bad rep a lot, but it's,
yeah.
I think
Oh no,
personally
they're
that
camping
it's
this?
kind of unwarranted
Nah,
because they do a lot of good. So.
Well, C# and Unreal will be a thing. I don't know exactly when, but it will be a thing.
Couldn't get it off.
Not too long of a
They're
wait.
fast. They're capping too fast.
And of course, we will have that support when they have it. We'll have the support. Our programmer usually waits for he waits for those features for Epic to do it first, so he can then build off that. It's just easier instead of building it from scratch. And yeah, so that means you don't have to go, you know, head first into a brick wall with C++. Now, if you do already know C++, by all means, you know, go crazy.
Go crazy, go stupid,
Gore. We'll visit Gore later.
We got
we do intend on having
50
Gore.
players right now,
Yeah.
so that should be like...
The multi-threading topic is more something I would want to leave for when my programmer is around. He can explain that a little better. I don't want to confuse anybody because I may be confused about it at times, but I will say, like, multi-threading with Unreal with Epic is it's one thread. And there's a reason for that, but my programmer can explain it a lot better than I can. I'm just a simple artist.
Friendly, man, friendly.
Ah, shit, take cover.
All I know is that
Good.
0
Come
is
on,
false.
There is no spoon.
Put on, get here.
Don't you mean there is no bool?
Wow, what's popping?
Is there a comically large spoon for OH?
I mean, what does a spoon have to? I mean, there are so many other Easter eggs we could throw in. I mean, there is an Easter egg in Warfare and Quarantine, but
They're all over there.
I'm not going to tell you how to find it.
Comically large gameplay.
I mean, technically, unless you do some kind of debug camera, you ain't gonna find it. I mean, if they're able to get it to work with multi-threads, then yeah, that's, you know, I ask my programmer all the time. I was like, why can't I use more threads? And he goes into this long explanation about why. You know.
Yeah, he's out top on the balcony.
Sometimes it just sounds like quantum physics to me.
Yeah, Rust takes a very long time to load.
It's because
I don't
it's
think
rusty.
That's a unique problem.
Need some WD-40. What happens when your WD-40 can gets rusty? You gotta get a smaller can of WD-40 and spray
Yes, there will be tutorials. When?
SDK
I don't know.
tutorials, okay. Interesting. Now we're recapping, let's go.
that. What is that? C++ half the time your coder is forced to be in a cramped apartment collecting garbage data? Not if you have some really good automated tools. If your programmer can actually make those, they make their job a lot easier.
Couldn't think myself out of a paper bag.
Then, you know, get some olive oil. I mean, do they make smaller and smaller WD-40 cans? You've seen the meme. Hey, Bobber. He's got his holster WD-40. You haven't seen that one? I'll have to find it.
What the fuck, where are
I
the
mean,
stairs?
we do have a guy here who does the Hank Hill voice
Find him.
almost perfectly.
Who's that?
Where's the
You know
fucking
who it is.
stairs, man?
I don't.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Really?
No, I don't.
Tempter?
Tempter.
Oh,
Right, okay.
Oh no, it's either
He's just
Tempter
so
or the
forgettable.
Warrior.
Oh,
I just like
They sound the same.
I just-
First of all, I've never known olive oil to get rusty. That's the beauty of it.
Do I look like I know?
And
what
olive oil, extra virgin olive oil is healthy for you. I will say that. Though, in moderation. I'm not a licensed physician. I am a licensed meat cutter, though.
Hey, what's up, Nemanja? You doing alright, bro? Welcome to the stream. It's a podcast dev stream.
I must be healthy then
Over.
because I'm extra virgin. Feels bad, man. Shit.
Sad.
Servers, I mean,
Time to die.
that's a
Die.
question for you guys. Where are you gonna host your servers? 'Cause
Look,
we'll have
man.
official servers.
Good,
but for the
good
most
doggo.
part,
You
it's
have
gonna be-
no idea how
Well,
the
yeah,
conversations go in our dev team. This is how we talk to each other all day. Like we'll be talking serious for about an hour, and all of a sudden it just flips. And we'll spend 3 hours talking about random stuff
look
that
at a bomb
has
going
nothing to
through
do
the
with it,
door.
and it's just fun.
Real hero.
I mean, we have obviously we have our
already-
serious
Da,
moments.
jag
You can already host servers if
That's
you want to. Yeah.
Like
Like I said, we'll
Shout outs.
figure out a baseline for some official servers, but for the
Pozdrav.
most part, largely, it's gonna be like Arma, right? You know, mostly that's all community ran servers. People don't play on vanilla servers. So. Yeah, it's already out there. That the server they're playing on right now is I'm hosting it.
Furious, I would say, see, that's where I'm biased. See, I'm more of a performance. You know, I like performance over visuals, which is that's a seesaw right there. But then dev
Oh, you
time
said already.
is always gonna take.
No, I never said that.
What? Oh, it's
Never
always
said
gonna
that.
take
Not
a lot
expecting people
longer.
to play the base game.
Longer depending on what your resources are. There's also a fundamental wall you're going to run into, which is no matter how much money you have or how much time you have, you can't force things to go faster. Or you run the risk of building a system that cannot scale.
God damn.
And since we are building an SDK, we have to be able to scale. So we have to take our time with a lot of things. Plus, we're just a very, very small team. You know, which does greatly affect how much we can get done. but we've
No,
gotten a
but
lot
the-
done.
His question about the base game has nothing to do
They're
with
down-
server
they're
hosting.
down there, man,
You can
they're down
host a
there.
server and just
On
have
the left,
the base game
165,
hosted.
165 in that other
It's
building.
not about that.
Opposite
It's about
side.
how many official servers will
Yeah,
there
they're
be versus
shooting through the
community
windows.
hosted servers. A community hosted server can be straight up base game. That's fine. Yeah.
Enemy down,
that
enemy
answers
down.
your
I capped him.
Nice shot.
We're all clear, boys. By the way, I need more damage. Need more damage on the AK-74.
And to
man.
continue, we do have a
Sure.
pretty fast iteration
Also
process
doing it
right now.
on
I mean, it's
full
always been fast. We literally have things changing every day. You know, either optimizations, visuals, code. It's constantly changing. I mean, the phrase is, you know, you are your own worst critic or whatever, and we have lots of people in our dev team who like to criticize everything.
Oh, damn.
It helps,
What up?
which is good.
Converted, he hasn't announced yet how he wants to do the giveaways. You're just gonna have to wait for
getting
Blue
into
to
the
make an
other
announcement. He's just gonna do it
Hurry up and
sometime
wait.
in the next couple
Space
hours.
right now,
Yeah,
let's see
there's
if
no
I
other
can
info
get
yet. So.
Yeah, and I'm dead. God damn it.
Yeah, I mean, bring up a good point, Furious. I am curious about that gambler. Gamble their money away in NBA 2021. No.
I think there's an enemy hab on.
I mean, that's one of the things
2%
about
on the
small
wall,
indie
just
companies
right
is
at the
that
staircase.
you
Maybe
want
try and sell
you
it.
want to kind of follow the AAAs, but because of your size, you can't necessarily follow everything they do. They're just a good foundation to look at, to reference. You know,
Let's go. You're with me. You're with me. Let's go.
most AAAs they
Watch the middle.
they
watch
they
the
do all their stuff based on formulas. You know, and
Come
they
from
just
the middle.
plug people into it, and then, you know, pop an equal sign
See?
creates the result. For us, we just throw ourselves at a wall, hope we stick. Right, no, you're not wrong, Ron. Yeah. I mean, it's mostly execs and shareholders, and this is my opinion. It's mostly execs and shareholders worrying about the bottom line
Down.
and how much money they're going to make when the game comes out and all that. It's not really focused on the devs, which is a shame. Like, you know, it's kind of like that whole like process of like, we as a culture, as a society, we value people who are actually the most worthless people on earth, job-wise, you know. And it's like, you should be valuing your artists and your programmers a lot more than the execs. But the flip side of that is, without the exec, all these artists and programmers are just going to be running around with their head cut off, you know, not knowing what to do. There's no organization. But, you know, again, that's just my opinion. Right?
The lower graphics
Society.
settings are not
Society.
configured at all right now.
Yeah, we'll
Anything below epic settings has not been optimized.
Hey, did any of you guys have ammo? Are any of you guys riflemen?
I even said that when I was playing it. Oh crap!
No,
Blue,
not
Blue
you.
should go
Anyone
back.
got
I thought
ammo?
I thought I
Anyone
saw
got
double
ammo?
walls. Ah.
Hey, what up?
What's not that
I'll
epic?
be able to have it, bro. I know
Settings.
it work though. Wait for
Are you riflemen?
no, I'm squad leader. I'm asking
Yeah,
right now.
hardline was.
Nobody's
Honestly,
answering,
I mean, I
you
think
know,
we had
maybe
we had a
maybe
couple.
Let's kill somebody and grab
I don't know if I've heard from them in a little while.
grab their kid.
And if anybody else is an actual vet, they haven't said anything.
I don't know about on the dev team, but
In the
definitely
Discord,
just in
we have
Oh,
several.
okay, I can jump.
Definitely, I know.
And I
plenty
can
of vets
die.
that I consult with all the time.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. Let's respawn. Okay, I see.
I mean, I would agree and disagree that yeah, maybe Ubisoft is an example, but I could say the same thing about Bethesda. I could say the same thing about EA. I could say about everybody, Activision, like all that stuff. I mean, whenever I reference Activision, I always reference when I forget which Call of Duty it was,
I
but
don't
when
think
the execs.
Tom Clancy ever cared about games, to be
No,
honest.
he didn't.
Like,
but like when
I see that argument a lot. And I'm like,
yeah,
bro,
trust me, he goes on about that.
An old guy when those games
Right, he
were done.
was.
I don't think he plays games.
An example was when Activision, the execs, were not happy that they made $500 million on that one game. It was like 6-7 years ago or something. They were like, no, this is a failure. That we only made $500 million, and I was like, wait, that's $500 million. Like if you're not happy with that, then what the hell are you happy with? You're not Rockstar. That's for sure. You're just selling the same copy pasted thing from last year, so you should be happy. And that to me is just bad game development, not on the developer's part, but on the exec side. Now I think Bethesda is the flip. You have really bad executives, really good devs, but the devs aren't allowed to do the things they need to do. And then there's the whole CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk. That's what happens when execs have to make a hard call and push something when it shouldn't be put out just yet, in my opinion. But I'll let Gooms explain that one. He knows Cyberpunk.
What about it?
Oh, how that was the execs who pushed it out too soon. And they should have let the developers actually fix all the stuff and get it polished.
And Activision always
Sorry to
breaks
jump
the
over
market. I
shit
don't know
in
what you
this
mean.
thing,
They
bro.
always clean house,
You
man.
gotta.
Yeah,
That's why
but
they
there
do
was
the
that
same
one
thing all the
year.
time.
They were like, we're not happy with $500 million. Okay. I mean, Rockstar cleans house whenever they pop a game out, but how often do they pop a game out? But when they do, it literally
I mean, they're
is the game
still
for the next 6
making
years.
hundreds of millions on GTA 5. So.
Oh, of
On
course.
YouTube, right? So-
Yeah. So they make their 5-6 billion when they put the game out, then they make another like 2 or 3 billion over the next 6-7 years because the game is that good.
I was empty.
And just but like companies like Activision, they have to pump out a game every year and a half, 2 years, just to make that $500 million or $1 billion.
Not anymore.
Oh,
'Cause
not anymore.
With like Warzone and Battle Pass and all that, they've already made
Bro, what the fuck
claims
was
that
that?
they're making
Sure.
more than they've ever made. Off that wall.
I'm just not a fan of it. I'm just not a fan of it. I've been Call of Duty'd out. Probably since Modern Warfare 2.
I like
Modern Warfare 2, or not, yeah, the Modern Warfare, sorry, not Modern Warfare 2.
it is what it is, I took it for
Yeah.
what it is. If you have an expectation for those games that is outside of the scope of what Call of Duty does, yeah, you're not gonna like it.
Right.
But if you're like,
Nice.
you
good job.
what you're getting into, then
Easy
cool,
peasy, man. We
man.
got this, baby.
I enjoy grinding and
Fucking pro gamer at this
Keep
game
on,
now.
keep on grinding.
Plays
Keep on grinding. We got this new MLB.
Well, see, that's the problem, 65, is that, I mean, yeah, that's what you would expect. You'd expect that, hey, if your game is buggy as crap, as hell, you should wait, push the release back. But the thing is, all these AAAs are fighting for 1 month out of the year to get me the first one out with their game so they can grab all the market. And it's no longer about putting out a good product. It's about, hey, can I put my product out first? It's kind of like YouTube. It's like, hey, I don't have to be the best. I just have to be first. And it's the same with the media too. They don't have to be the best, media outlet. They just have to be the first to get that story. And it's a bad way to do things.
I don't know what you're planning, but we should do a supplement.
Okay,
Well,
I'm not even playing this, I'm just saying.
Coming up, guys. Cover.
So what were you saying?
Guys, watch out, they're coming up the stairs.
What was I saying?
What were you saying? I was just saying that was just a bad way to do things when it comes to bugs and releases. Care about the caring about the product.
I mean, it is what it is, right? Like the game's either done or it's not. Right,
Programs
and
right
there's
now.
gonna be people who
See you, Doodle.
There's gonna be studios that are like, we have to hit the holiday release
Coming in,
window, and
coming
if we
in.
don't, then that's another
Watch
year
your
of
shit.
development.
Yeah, yeah,
and
watch
this is
your
what
shit,
the
watch
budget
your
is for
shit.
that, and you know, it's just
They're all over the place, guys.
there's
Programs
and companies
sound-
of those
programs
size. I mean, I'm
sound
not saying it's right, and
They're
I'm
all
not
over the
defending
place
them,
and
but
stuff.
it's like there's different considerations at that scale. You know,
PKM.
like they're beholden to more than what like a
Oh,
small
of course.
indie is, where we can just
Right.
say, you know, hey, like we're not gonna do it until it's right. Like, I don't know. I understand their whole pipeline.
Oh, so do I. But I mean, that's where
I understand that, but
that's
in
where
my
I
opinion,
have a disagreement,
at
which
least
is
in the indie game space, I don't think it matters.
no, it doesn't. And but the thing is, what I want to happen, which it won't happen because it's AAA and it's not run by people who are about making a good product, making a good game that people want to play. They're about how much can we sell it for and how much can we make. That's it. Don't care about anything else, and that's the problem. You lose a lot of other stuff on the back end. It's like you just get this constant copy paste. You know, it's kind of like the iPhones and the Androids. It's like you didn't. What's the difference between this one versus last year's? It's got 2 millimeters of extra space on the top, and you get 5 extra pixels.
That's crazy.
And you have to buy the earbuds separately. You know, it's like what? Okay, just gouge the consumer. And I mean, and I say this, you know, almost sarcastically and jokingly, but like that is literally what's being done to everybody. It's been done to me. I mean, I will tell you, when I thought Fallout 76 was gonna be all right, so I pre-ordered that for $60. Of course, I got scammed.
Pookie got a nylon bag.
Oh, I didn't get shit. I didn't get shit. Bethesda fucking, yeah, they fucked me in the ass. They bent me over, didn't even spit on it, just shoved it in. You know? And I don't pre-order. Ever since then, I don't pre-order.
To be fair, I got some AirPod Pros.
To be
Those things are
fair.
fucking nice,
To be
man.
fair.
I like them.
Oh, I know you were raving about it.
Yeah, I kind of went a little overboard with Apple stuff the past few months.
I think everybody went overboard with their stimulus
fuck.
checks.
Alright, the thing is,
I didn't. I don't even. Wait, I mean, I guess I.
That was
spent
a
it. I
that was a
don't know.
joke.
The money all goes into the same pot, man. So I got mine for a discount. So I mean, I'd buy everything on discount. Man. Shit.
I mean,
alright, here's the thing.
That's how the
guys.
rich
You gotta be
stay
smart
rich.
about what
Point
you're
up
buying.
some
you know
Reattack,
what I mean?
actually.
Like I just got a fucking Apple Watch. I never thought I'd like it.
okay,
It's
keep this up.
dope. Got it for an amazing fucking deal. That's the only.
I like how I just said I got screwed by Bethesda for Fallout 76, and you're like, oh, you gotta be smart about what you buy. I was like, well, how? That's the thing about game
shit,
pre-orders.
fuck.
You don't know. It's a gamble.
We lost.
Yeah, I didn't even buy earbuds for my Android when I bought it.
Alright, got it.
match is ending,
It's like,
so I think I gotta
like,
switch
I don't need it.
to this command ready.
I mean,
Did
yeah,
their match just
if you guys
end?
are if you guys are questioned out, feel free to talk about anything else.
Alright, next map. Let's see what it's gonna be. Oh.
Yeah, it's Apple,
Yo,
but it's
PNC,
also
PNC, bro.
pretty
PNC,
much how the
bro.
current market is right now. And you know, I live in California, and they're trying
Yo,
to
let's go.
outlaw fucking powerful gaming rigs because they use too much
Pre-builts
electricity.
only, though.
So I can't
That's
go and
not
buy a
custom,
pre-built.
though. It's pre-built specifically. Yeah, it's you can.
So how am I supposed to get a new
custom build.
computer if I can't go buy the parts because buying the
Oh,
parts
No,
separately
you
myself?
Can buy
Oh, yeah,
the
this is it.
parts.
This is
Well,
the
that's
one.
another.
Yeah, I got the
issue.
can on the burner. I got the can on the burner.
Can I
Let's
just
get
hit
this
up
for
Blue
you.
and be like, yo, hey man, can you got some connections, brah? Get me a computer. I'll pay for half of it.
Oh, we can do this.
You can sponsor.
Start a YouTube channel, Pookie, and I'll get.
Son
you
of a
sponsorship.
bitch! I don't want to start a channel. No one's gonna
Look at
like
him,
watch.
man.
You
Chilling.
know, I don't want to show my face.
Spawn point in a minute.
I don't know. Maybe
Fuck,
that'll
fuck,
become the channel. You know, who knows?
Okay, that'll come later. Yeah, there'll be like more.
I remember
The AI
games
is
used
like
to look different.
very, very, very.
Damn, they overrated.
I'm not a big Apple consumer. I'm a
635. We're working on a PSO scope for the
Yeah, upgrade
SKS
this
right
map.
now. So
Map is upgraded now.
yeah. As we
Yeah.
as we speak.
yeah.
Yeah, literally as we speak.
Oh, let's see. By the way, it's also
How do we
And
think the
also,
next
like,
game stream
balancing
revolution will
is
happen?
not really like a thing that we're caring about right now, to be honest. Like, the whole Invictus PMC stuff is gonna evolve to another thing, anyways. The countering faction for that is going to be a lot more appropriate at some point in the near future. So. It is projectile.
Yep. Projectiles.
God damn.
Yeah, is it possible to turn off auto balance?
Yeah, I don't remember the command though.
Yeah, this map
Damn
used
it.
to look very, very different.
Alright.
No.
Game the auto balance
Yeah,
teams
sure,
override.
You can actually see the
Oh, do
original
it.
map.
And do you have it open?
Oh,
Nino?
this map actually
Yeah, I
looks
can
like
open it up.
something
Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead and
pretty-
do that.
very
Because
nice.
there's no way in hell I'm not gonna play as PMC right now.
Look, I even got the. Yo, I got the mechanics, the
prepare
real
shop or
ones.
what?
Yo, let's
I'm
go.
playing as
man.
PMC. This is why we need to get optics in for the other side.
Don't worry.
Working on it. Yeah. No, don't tell him. Don't worry. He worries.
I worry.
Yeah. We're working on it.
Right.
Figure it
Mia,
out.
Mia, let me know when you do it. So
Yep.
Switch.
More unrealistic, tiny. I mean, if you can fit the projectile through a tiny hole, sure. Is it a realistic shooter?
Realistic
Like
shooter squad?
Like are you talking about like true first person?
Yeah, it's not true
It's
first
not,
person
no.
camera. You can
Yeah, it's-
mod
we
it
didn't-
and make it.
We
that.
specifically didn't
Yeah.
want it to be true first
No,
person. Like, there's so many issues that even Squad still is plagued with to this day because of true first. Like, if the only reason you're implementing true first person is like, oh, I want to see my feet, dude, you can see your feet with false first person. Like,
Yeah, we
that's-
already
that
had a
is-
modder
that's
do
that's
that.
totally a that's totally a possible thing. There is
Should be disabled now.
okay, thank you. There's very few pros to having true first person from what I have seen. It always feels janky. It always feels ass. There's so many issues. It's hard to find animators for it.
It's the animations
just
and the
not-
little
it's
workflow
not
with
ideal.
it.
There,
Because
like,
like
even
you know,
On the left.
you're basically trying to bring detail to the third person like model and animations when you can have
God damn it,
a
it just
way
auto-
higher fidelity animation in the first person view.
Let's hope that was a
A lot easier. Yeah.
Let's get this spent.
It's partially a clipping problem. I mean, you can work around that, but
Is Squad true first person? I think it is.
yeah, I think it is.
And Arma 3
We
is-
have had
is
actually
true
someone
first
already come
person.
in.
No optics.
A modder who's already played around with the
Look at-
early
look at this
access
shit,
of the
I'm just fucking
SDK,
laying 'em on the ground.
who has already implemented making the third person leg, like the third person body show in first person, so you can get that effect, and you still get the camera that we have, but you get to see your legs, you know. And I feel that's a better way of a better look and feel, you know. It's kind of like Skyrim almost. But yeah, there's a lot of technical reasons why we didn't go with true
Yeah,
first
we
person.
know about that. That's the optics are very work in progress right now.
Very early.
Hey, Miha, it's not. Are you sure you disabled it? 'Cause it's still killing me over again.
You might have to restart the
Yeah, the game is
map.
actually called
Sure, you're not
Operation
just
Harsh
bad.
Doorstep.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, that too.
$5 and
Miha, restart level. Restart level. Do it.
No,
Yeah,
it
that's-
shouldn't be necessary.
You can look it up.
That's one of the early
We'll get a
initial
Steam key.
issues that happens
You
in
can
a
play it on
very
your
early
I'm
system.
testing it right now.
I want to play with my scopes.
We're working on it.
It's a very nice game.
Play with my scopes.
What I can tell you right now is that the optics are all blueprint right now. There's no code involved. Now there will be, but in the initial proof of concept
Try now.
phase.
Okay, I mean, I'm already over here, so hopefully it just doesn't kill you.
Oh, he's dead.
No, we're not doing that at the
Hopefully it
moment.
doesn't. I'll tell you if it does it again.
Yeah.
There's no complicated, quantum physics going on with that.
Got enemies on my 015.
That doesn't mean you can't mod that in later if we don't put it in.
Now they know I'm here, fuck.
I mean, that's the beauty of having the SDK, is that if there's something that you see we don't do, or we just don't have time to do,
Getting cover.
other people will probably tackle it. And that's the beauty of it. It's like that saying, you know, if you build it,
shit.
they will come.
I died, no, first death. Make a death count.
Watch level cap tutorials. What does he train people how to use an SDK and how to blueprint and
Hey yo, what up,
all that?
Janice? G.I. Janice. This Blue Drake.
I would have put it with a K though.
69.
You know, just get that little humor in there.
Pretty chill.
Only red dot. Airsoft red dot. I'm a paintballer. Yeah, I
I've only
don't.
seen an airsoft movement.
I'm not one of those airsoft people. I actually like watching those funny videos where people get shot point blank with airsoft fully auto, but I'm sorry, unless you've been shot with a Spider TL Plus at 13 rounds a second. Yeah, point blank. I'm sorry. You just a pussy. .68 caliber fucking paintballs, man.
Really flexing.
Oh,
Shit, I'm stuck on the street.
get shot right in the nipple. Oh.
That's what we're focused on, man. Just
Smoking.
Focus on my
building
nipple?
What we know
Oh,
needs
nice.
to be built.
Okay,
I'm trying to
okay.
wonder.
Yeah, I was reading that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I mean,
what
that's-
we've been saying,
That was
you
my
know,
whole
like,
thing
we're
about
not-
making a good product. Like, we don't care about the clout. We don't care about ego. Actually, I advocate, you know.
I say this all the time. There is such a game drought and like things like modding tools and that stuff that really need it. People are gonna find that stuff, right? If it's there, people will find it, right? You don't need crazy fancy marketing scheme. Like, you just don't need that. You know, I mean, there's plenty of great examples of games that have come out recently or in the past few years that have done zero.
The balance between realism and gameplay, well, that's simple. We expose a lot of our parameters. You got different game modes. You can literally set how much realism you want eventually, you know, and have just more of an arcadey feel.
Realism.
For us right now, it's more about the realism, you know, and the authenticity. But we are also building up these systems from scratch and just getting them to work properly. It's still all very early.
That's kind of a broad question, because I think we need to dissect it into like what specifically.
Right, like what's realism? What's gameplay? You know,
because there's a difference between realism in medical and realism with ballistics and guns and stuff like that.
And you're gonna have Gooms has a different opinion about this stuff mine's different from his. We have different views on what games are good.
Everyone in the tactical shooter Milsim community disagrees on what is realistic, right? So that's why we're like focused on giving you the tools, and it's not so much about what are we gonna do with the base game. And it's not about that, right? It's about what do you want to do with your community, because my depiction of realism or what is fun is probably different from yours, and vice versa, right? So that should be however you want to make it, right? So
Furious over here fucking just breaking it down, man. I love it. I mean that in a good way.
Yeah, look, think of it like this, right? You know, we want to talk about realism, right? I would say, like, you know, who here thinks there's anything more realistic than like Ace Advanced Medical, right? That's not realistic still, right? Like if you get shot in the chest and you're pulled out of combat, you're probably out for months, right? Like you're not coming back. Right?
There's a difference between authenticity and realism. and
Yes,
I think that's
yes.
a thing people should have in mind. Is I think people want more
Yeah,
authenticity than realism, because realism is boring in some ways.
Yes. Well, yeah, and it depends. Again, it depends what we're talking about, right? Like you know, there's a way to have both of those things, and the realism can be the fun part.
There we
you
go,
know?
easy peasy. Just want to see if I got stuck for
I like what you put, Flame, but we will. I mean, obviously that's funny, but we have been talking about things in the past,
Then we
and
got heavy
not
rain
as
on Saturday,
recently,
we got
but
heavy
in
rain
the
on
past we've talked about how we want to
Yo,
create some
Sam,
kind of
how's
system
it poppin', man? Get the
for, like,
fucking
you know,
key
ranking and all
already,
that
dude.
stuff.
What
I don't
the
know
fuck
what
are you
yet.
doing? Come on, Sam, get
We'll
the
get
key,
to
get
that,
on.
but like for me
on
personally,
board,
I
man.
love that about Battlefield
I'm getting a
3,
lot of
where
views
like
on these
every time I
videos.
finish a match, I'm just
I'm telling you,
updating
man,
my
I need to
stats
download
and
hard Doorstop.
ranking up.
It
Now,
would
I
be
didn't,
cool to have a framework
know.
system
Nah,
that
it's gonna be
servers
like
can maybe
vending machines.
implement
We're
for
gonna
their
be millionaires,
communities or
man.
something
Yeah.
like that. You know.
That's now see for EA, they have the
Five,
infrastructure
for
to
one
handle
time,
all
one
of
time
that,
only.
to store
Get
all
on the
that data.
Patreon, everybody.
We don't at the moment. You know, we can't buy some big data center to
Yeah,
hold that
where's our
information, because that's
selection?
partly what
What's going on,
because to keep people from, like, you know, becoming a private to a full bird, you know, kernel with a shit bucket, you know, and just by changing any file, you'd have to do some server side stuff. But yeah, I mean,
Yes,
I like that
already
sense of
answered.
accomplishment.
Let's go.
Like seeing that I'm improving my character and achieving
They're just
medals and all that
vibing,
kind of
man.
stuff.
Don't
That's the kind of stuff I like too. But that's all. That's kind of
Go,
easy
I
man.
don't
We got
stuff.
understand
Doge,
your
we got
question
Doge.
about why are you not making single player more? What do you mean?
I just
I mean,
invented
we already have
Blue
single
Coin,
player
which is
stuff,
way
but
better.
it's not as developed just yet. We're more focused on the multiplayer side.
Sandbox mode.
Alright, they're all
I mean,
coming
I
over there.
sort of
yeah,
mentioned
there will
stuff
be
about that
something-
earlier.
Again, it's
They're
kind
all-
of broad because like
They're
mechanics,
all gonna
mods,
be coming
add-ons,
from
like that
70,
spans kind of a wide range that exceeds like a sandbox mode. Like if you mean like Arma
Pop
editor
some names, pop
or
some names,
something
come
like
on.
that, yeah, there's plans for something like that.
I'm confused on why.
Alright,
Wait,
next
what?
point,
Why?
next point. Let's get them all, boys.
Why not banned games? What? I'm confused about that.
We don't really care about controversy.
Alright, next.
Yeah, I mean, we're
Or
not gonna
getting
go.
canceled. Yo,
Go,
you let
guys.
yourself
Yo,
get
you
canceled.
just
Let's
fucking
be
died,
clear
man,
here,
from
right?
jumping.
Like,
Right.
yeah, look, as long as you're not violating the terms of service or the end user license agreements or doing something illegal,
Yeah, Rob actually got game banned from
why
Tripwire, but
does
that's
anyone care?
different.
Like,
You know,
Right.
it's dumb, man. Yeah.
he got banned from Beep. Just get on Phoenix. You can see what's going on there. It's real controversy because these guys.
Like,
also
imagine if that airport scene from Call of Duty wasn't done then, it was done now. They'd cancel the fuck out of that company, you know. But that was still kind of crazy back then. It's like, oh, crap.
Well,
I'm
you know,
actually-
it's like the whole
you
thing.
know,
with,
walking
like,
through an
6 days in
airport, mowing
Fallujah,
people down.
right? That's a great example of a recent one. You know, there's
Which
like,
one?
6 days in Fallujah, and it's like,
Oh,
okay, so look, they're a private studio. They can make whatever game they want. They're not violating the terms of service of whatever engine they're working. Like, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. If anyone's gonna cancel them, it's gonna be themselves because they're gonna fold to that. I mean, they've already done that in the past, right? So. Like,
well, yeah, I
come on,
agree. I
right?
agree. You know, if you let someone on Twitter yelling at you make you quit the internet, it's like, I mean, that's kind of like what cancel culture is all about. It's not even about the thing they're yelling at you about. It's to get you to, you know, fuck off, so
Yeah.
that they're the only voice in the room.
It's
And
gonna
Here it
happen.
is.
Yeah,
Base
they've
company,
already
base company.
gotten their
Get this
second
game,
wave of
guys.
people
Base.
bringing
They will
up
not cancel
the-
you. At least that's what they're saying now.
the Arabic countries and it being
Yeah.
like, you know, I don't know. I don't want to go into their issue, you know, but
Yeah.
they've already tried, and they've already pretty much seemed like they're like just gonna continue, which I hope they do. You know, if they have a bad take, then they have a bad take. You know, like that's. People can choose to buy it or not based on
Right,
that.
I'm gonna have to open the door real quick.
Should that allow people, or should that does that mean that people shouldn't make it or express their, freedom to create that stuff. No, I don't.
Man, we got real storm over here, man. This shit busting. I might actually go outside and get fucking wet. I don't know, from all the rain that is pouring down. All right, seems like they have kind of.
DJ's question's probably more for you, Pookie.
Which one?
The decision to use Unreal Engine 4.
More support, more tools. At the time that we were building Warfare, we didn't actually have, we had programmers, but they weren't as genius as the one we have had, for Unreal. We were already building a system that was going to be an SDK, and that wasn't going to really work with, Warfare being in Unity, so we moved it over. And we were already building OHD in Unreal before even Warfare, so like that was already decided on a long time ago. That's more of like a Unreal 4 versus Unity kind of discussion, because I've worked in both. The only bias I have is that I have worked in Unreal 4 since it came out, and I worked in UDK for a couple years before that. I find Unreal 4 to be a lot easier, so it's just easier. You can do a lot more, and it works. You can do both stylized games and realistic games. Unity, you kind of have to brute force some things here and there. You can do anything with it, but
Right, enemy down.
I mean, that's not. It was just already decided on, so. There's no going back.
Also, after that was decided on, I think it was a smart move anyways, just looking at all those steps that Epic is taking right now.
Oh yeah,
these companies that they're acquiring and things they're releasing for free to the development community. I mean, they're really poising themselves to kind of be, a ringleader, so to speak, in probably the next 5 years or so, I would imagine. So.
Gooms, who is the voxel developer right
I
now?
don't fucking know.
Who would that be? Would you say?
I forgot
Would you think?
about
I think that might be Blue actually. I don't know. We haven't been doing. Those of us who work on OHD and all that, we don't do a lot with voxel stuff at the moment. Blue would probably have more of an answer there for that. You probably ask him on YouTube.
Disabled.
Stop 9 on my foot, cat. Jesus.
Map development to make challenge sourcing. Well, there's someone who makes all the assets. There are some marketplace assets, but those are placeholder.
What do you mean by can you preload the test environment? What do you mean? I'm also running on like no sleep in like 32 hours, so.
Yeah, we're just answering questions and hanging out.
Yeah, I'm just answering questions. At this point, yeah, anything you want to talk about, pretty much, within reason.
Oh, I'm not the squad leader? What the fuck?
But yeah, I was just confused on like, what do you mean by preloading the test environment?
Oh, that's like
Dirty.
Squad lead shit.
Dirty weeb.
Weeaboo.
No, that's not. That'll be more for the SDK.
Yeah.
And then eventually, and there's something like an editor, like Armor's editor, and there will probably be functionality for something like that in there. But for the most part, that's going to be an SDK thing.
Yeah.
Test environment. So there's main branch, and then there's test environment. Main branch is manually updated. Test environment updates every 6 hours automatically. And that's where you'll find all of like the work in progress stuff.
Yeah, the test branch, you will find all the most current, iterations of stuff that we upload. There's no guarantee it'll be stable.
Yeah, got it.
It'll crash. It'll be buggy. You'll have graphical issues, all that kind of stuff.
I don't think VR will be a thing.
Yeah,
That'll be a whole
it's a whole different thing.
side
The
note.
main branch, like Goom says, is manually updated when we do big showcases, and that's going to be the most stable. It may even be lacking, just like with other games, like DayZ does the same thing. A lot of
I mean,
games
if you
do the
go
same
and
thing.
if you go and boot up main branch right now, you will see how much stuff is missing compared to what
Yeah.
you've seen.
I don't think we've
all the
updated that
latest
since
footage
what?
and updates that you
Couple
see with
months?
test- It's been months since main branch was
Yeah,
updated.
I mean, in that case,
main
yeah,
branch
go,
doesn't have AI.
go
Main
boot up,
branch doesn't even
go
have
boot up main, take a picture, and then go walk, and then boot up test branch, and go walk to the same spot you took that picture, and take a picture, and you'll get a good, nice comparison on how much
Alright, when
progress
this one
we've
is
made.
over, make sure that we set next to World War One Argonne.
Okay, Miha, do you still have it up?
Yeah,
Or
I got
do
it.
you need to- Okay.
Sick.
Good question.
Ah, shit.
So,
Blues answered this one, but yeah. go ahead.
yeah, but basically, you're gonna be able to roll back versions
Why am I
at
not
your
squad
leisure.
here? Let's be squad
So-
over here.
You do not have to update and have everything fixed, and people have to wait for that, to happen. So there will never be an interruption. Planes will come eventually.
Catch you later, Mr. Sam.
Yes, weapon sway based on stamina will be a thing.
Sunday. Alright, we're gonna go over to
No,
World War
I
I don't
think
know
he wants
about
to beat Dean Hall.
Being even what people think that is. Anyways, I actually
You don't know?
actually really dig what everything Dean Hall's doing right now with Icarus.
What he's doing right now, yeah, but what I think what what
American?
That
Shock
whole
is
thing was a
talking about.
clusterfuck, though. Like,
Oh well,
like,
yeah.
to
You know what?
say he
You know
would
what? In my opinion,
abandoned it,
I think
I
he
don't
saw
know that
how
I
like.
fully agree with that.
No, I think he saw how disorganized
World War
and
One,
like
yeah, I forgot.
biz
Like,
dev
keep in
minded.
mind, he made the mod, and he wasn't
Yeah.
Bohemia, and then Bohemia came into the picture,
Damn, this looks
Yeah.
and
good.
then he left. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, because
I
I
don't
think
know
that's
that
why.
I would say he just.
I think that's he took it. Look, I think that company was not a good fit for him. He just built a
I
really
think
great
there's
mod.
so many other things to take into consideration with
Yeah.
that. I don't think it's as simple.
Plus, come on, the dude
"Oh,
literally
just look at money."
like
Yeah.
took a break so he could go fucking climb Mount Everest, dude. Like, who does that? I mean, that's a cool thing, but like, who does that?
We don't. For all we know, he had a boot on his neck from or something.
Possibly, yeah, we don't know. But like, that's why I brought up like him climbing Everest. Like, he cares about that. He cares about having like making cool shit. And I don't know if you've seen the stuff he's doing right now. He has Twitch channel.
Icarus looks sick. I like how they're marketing it as well.
He's not a billionaire though. He's only a millionaire.
Get up.
I mean, for a dude from New Zealand who was in the New Zealand military and like while he was injured during one of his his like tours or whatever, he was just sitting in the hospital, and that's when he started modding DayZ or Project Zomboid. Yeah, and then for him to go and make one of the biggest mods out there that becomes its own game and makes millions off it and then bounces, and then now he's back to making games again. Like, that's cool, man.
We're talking about Dean Hall, the guy who made DayZ mod and then started on DayZ standalone. But here's the thing though, right? And I think this doesn't get brought up enough. Even when Dean Hall was out of the picture, there were multiple people who could have come along and like fixed that project, and they did it. Right?
Yeah, they did.
So and that's got nothing to do with Dean Hall, right? So
Exactly.
I feel like the issues are a lot deeper rooted than.
Well, that's why I
just
say
not
I think
right.
he saw that immediately, and he knew right then and there. Okay, I'm gonna bounce out. That's why I'm saying like he saw the internal workings of that company possibly.
Going from a
I'm not-
modding scene to a very it's modding community.
I would say it's like it's pitch black, like the darkest black you've seen, to like supernova switch. Like it's you can't do all the stuff you normally would do as a modder. It don't fly in AAA.
Alright,
It
front
just
line
doesn't.
cap.
They just
Let's
care. They
go,
pick
let's
you up
go.
because they see that you have some skill, and then they break you down and build you
Shit, right
back
in front
up
of me,
to
right
how
in front of
they
me.
want you to
Right
work.
over there, man.
That's why in AAA's when you go for an interview, they like one of the top requirements listed for the job is have you worked in a pipeline before. The thing is, the catch-22 for a lot of artists and a lot of programmers is fresh out of school, you have no experience, you know, so you can't get a job in AAA. But to get experience, you gotta work in a AAA or a company or something, and it's really hard, you know. So you gotta go intern and bring people coffee and work for free, which really sucks.
Any plans on a modern German faction? Same answer as all the other questions about any plans on this or that faction. It's no official plans, but it can be made. There's no reason. It's just a skin on the UV4 character rates.
Alright, let's go again.
That could definitely be done.
Oh, he's fucking spawn camping, man. Come on.
Sure, I mean, same answer. Like, anyone can go and make a weapon if they know how to do it and animate it, texture it, put sounds in it. That's how the whole SDK is built.
There's a lot of them around here. They're to the left in the water.
I mean, look at I don't know where
Fuck you!
the fucking videos and screens are for this.
No, they're all over the place. Let's go.
If someone could put in blasters from Star Wars, someone could make
shotgun
a German faction with
ever.
you know,
behind the house.
G36s and all that fun.
Yeah, I mean, I will tell you
It's
this,
gotta be the slowest
since I'm
shotgun
pretty
in
much the
forever,
one.
man.
Okay, so here's how it goes. For our
Across the water,
setup,
too.
our programmer,
Wait,
he already
who the
built
fucking
the system up
reloading a
so that all you have to do is take a single blueprint, put the name of your faction. It could be anything you want. You then go and you make the model for that faction. You plug that skeleton and that model in there. Boom. That's it. Now, obviously, you make your weapons and you plug all that in. It's that simple. You know, we already built all the template stuff. Now, you want some more advanced features? Well, that's where the modding comes in. You know, you start tweaking things. And we do expect a lot of modders out there to kind of do almost a total conversion on what we've built. That's what we want. We want people to take this and just run with it. Sprint for all I care. Go. You know, spread your wings and fly. Or some of us will just spread our wings and crash. Yeah. But then get back up. But that's why we're building this.
All over there, all over there.
Look at
it's
look at all the
like
Skyrim mods. Look how long that game has been living because of the mods. Even with all the
There's one more down
bugginess
here.
of that
This
game.
thing, yeah, I got him.
still lives.
This thing actually works like a rifle.
That's what a lot of games, and that's why you know, you hear Blue a lot talk about why did
There's
EA,
another one.
you know,
Another one,
make
yeah.
Battlefield,
Got you.
what was it, Battlefield 3 and all that more accessible to modders and stuff like that, or at all. And they, you know, they made the excuse of like, oh well, Frostbite is just impossible for you to build on because it would take you years to
We need to get whoever's
compile a
the
map.
sponsor,
It's
we
like
Yeah,
then there's
Shotty
something
actually
fundamentally
is
wrong with your
cool.
game engine.
It's pretty cool.
You know?
Pretty cool. Oh, let's go, let's go.
For the public playtests, I don't know. An NDA is not required. If you
No,
join
we don't
our
care
dev
about
Discord,
covering
then
the
yes.
game, or we show off everything almost as soon as it's made, so
There we go.
we don't care about that.
Yeah, I don't know
our
anybody.
philosophy is we're going to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly because there's a lot of lies and bad takes and like things that studios will tell you is hard to do or is a certain way because in my opinion they're covering for their friends. So
Yeah.
we're going to show you game development
Yeah, I
as it
think
is
it's
and that's it. Like there's just no
Shit.
funny
I'm gonna
games here.
melee
Like,
him. I'm
that's
gonna
just how
melee
it is.
him.
like we try to go out of our way to make sure that we're more than transparent. Like we're like almost invisible to the transparency level. Like we don't want anyone. I don't want, in my opinion, I don't want anybody to be like, oh, you guys are hiding this and that. And it's like, no, we're showing you all our failures and all of our bad, you know, images and stuff like that. Like raw. It's the only way. It's the only way. Yeah, Gooms make sure that he shows that stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm adamant about that stuff. Yeah.
And we do that because we want to start breaking this stigma of like everything has to be perfect and nobody, and you know, all these AAAs are perfect and all this shit. It's like no, they're not. Like indies aren't perfect.
I will send you your keys. That I see your DMs. I like I said earlier, since I'm doing this right now, I don't have time to send. I have to manually go in because you didn't claim your keys, so I have to manually go in and pull them out. And there's like 6 keys I have to do. So
if I get shot, I want to use this med pick.
What was that one question I was going to respond to? Oh yeah, about Frostbite. I only have one friend who works. He actually works for EA. He's one of the lead photogrammetry artists. I have not heard anything from him about working in Frostbite, so all I know is what I've seen in YouTube videos and stuff. To me, it looks just like a more advanced Unreal Engine, but you know, obviously their framework is to not allow modders to do stuff with it. You know, I think they did that on purpose because they want to hold the market. They don't want anybody to build anything except them, and then charge you for it. And that's where I feel Epic's they're just gonna kill it. They're gonna kill everybody. You know, you can't keep making games that, like even Goom said, you know, we have a deficit of freaking good games. Even modded games, like it's just not enough out there.
Well, that's also why there's like all these live service models. Like,
yeah, and that stuff's gonna die. It's gonna
experience, right? They don't want you to have private dedicated. Like everyone's like, oh, Battlefield Portal. You're not gonna host a dedicated server for that. Just so you know, right? Like you realize that you're gonna have to be in the server to have it up. Like, yeah, it's gonna be free, but like you're not gonna be able to like create this crazy tactical experience in Portal and then leave it up as a community. That's not gonna be a thing. It's already out there. Go look it up, right? Like they want that, you know. Oh, you can't play with bots unless you're online, right? Things like that. Like I understand the argument. Oh well, 128 bots, the cloud computing, and you know whatever. I get it, right? That's cool. You should still have the option, right? That's the point that I want to make there. But like all these live service models, not giving you the tools for matchmaking. I mean, that stuff.
It's pretty much the catered.
It's a detriment to your game in the long run.
It's a catered.
So that next year, when they make the next game, they can start phasing out the old systems. So you have to buy the new game. You have to, right? I mean, look at all of the servers that are getting shut down for older Battlefield games, things like that, right? It's like they don't fucking care, right? They want you to spend the money on it.
Now, even when we say all this stuff, that doesn't mean we're going to be the pioneers and we're always going to support everything till the end of time. But we want to try and break all that. You know, it's like that's what we feel OHD and the SDK is going to help try to start. Is to break this cycle. You know, and it's like, think about it. We put out this free SDK that anybody can download because Epic offers their engine for free. You know, we built it all on their platform, so anything you can buy from them, you can use in our SDK. You can make practically, I'd say right now, 40% of the types of games out there. We're building more systems in, so that'll grow. OHD is free.
What do you mean? What is USP? I don't know. Oh, unique selling point. Oh yeah, I think you were answering that.
Thing is, we're not selling it. That's the fun. That's the kicker.
Yeah, we're not selling it, right? Like, just go.
But I get your point. Yeah, I get your point though. Yeah.
You don't have to spend any money. I mean, you got to pay your power bill.
Yeah, like we have the elevator pitch. You know, we have that to kind of sell you on the idea, but like. To be actually in all seriousness, we don't have that's the kicker. We're not selling it. That's the great thing. Like we're not trying to take your hard-earned money that's about to be inflated. You know, so like, hey, You know, for me now, I know there are people out there who are like, well, okay, well, I guess what the question really comes down to, why should I download your game for free and play it when I could then actually spend $60 on this game, which actually is built by a reputable AAA company.
But
It's
then-
going to look great,
Is
feel
anybody else?
great.
Is anybody else playing and spawning in with 0 magazines as the officer?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! All right.
That's what they do.
Maybe, yeah, you maybe should
But
tell me about
Maisie,
that.
it's the other way around. That's the point that we're trying to make. The question shouldn't be why should I play OHD over these other games? It should be why should I play these other games over OHD? Because at the end of the day, it's going to deliver to you everything that those games do and hopefully more, but completely for free and with no artificial barriers or boundaries.
Yeah, there's no catch. No catch
There's a
whatsoever.
reason. Like, does it look like Squad? Great. That's the point, right? It's supposed to look like that. It's supposed to look like this or that game to be able to deliver you that experience. You know, it's the other way around. Yeah. We're trying to kind of break the mold and force people to actually innovate here, right? That's the whole point. If you could just go get it for free, why go and buy another fucking World War II shooter next year when you already have multiple paid options, and then now you're going to have a free option that's going to be the same fidelity, the same features. I mean, obviously, we still have time to develop that stuff. It's not going to be, you know, the exact same fully fleshed out set of features that some of these other games have had years to culminate over, you know, and all that kind of stuff, right? So it will take time to get there, but when all is said and done, that's effectively where we want to be.
Indeed. Yeah, it's a concept that a lot of people still have yet to wrap their head around. I mean, when you dive into it, even just barely under the surface, it becomes almost like an abyss because it gets that big, it's that deep, you know. And it's like, wow, if this gets to its full potential, it has the potential to literally change this entire industry, but it's going to take time, you know. And Blue has
That's why
talked
we're
about
starting
this.
with the tactical shooter community.
Yeah.
I mean,
because we all like building them. We all like these games anyway, so.
You think we're not coming for the survival game market? Just wait.
Oh yeah, just I like survival games. I like RPGs. I like RTS.
No,
love RTS.
no good survival. The top survival game out right now is DayZ. What's DayZ built on? It's built on a fucking Milsim game. So.
Yep. You got all the operations now. Oh, we haven't gone deep enough. We can go deeper.
I mean, I like DayZ. I mean, I can't go hard on it like some of my friends can, but it's fun and it's definitely come a long way. And finally opening it to mods is definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree with you, Furious.
Scum is not moddable, and you cannot get your own. I mean, you can get your own dedicated server through G Portal, but you cannot get the server files. But no, I mean, Scum. I worked with Scum on their launch marketing. I'm very familiar with Scum and all that.
To address your point, Furious. Yeah, no, we all here at Drake and Labs, we care about eating and having a roof over our head and, you know, being able to put a little money aside for a rainy day and all that. But we don't feel that we need to charge you for that. We are
generating revenue through other means than
but
selling you a copy of the game.
Obviously, if you want to donate, if you want to support us, then by all means, it helps. I think I can say, Gomes. I mean, Blue has even said it. Pretty much, like not even pretty much. Besides the overhead of like the cost of like having to give Patreon their cut or something like that, all 100% of that funds left over goes directly to the development team to to get all the stuff coded, to get all the assets made, the sounds, everything. You know, and yeah,
DayZ, yes, absolutely. I mean, this is Blue Drake Studio at the end of the day, he is a content creator. There are lots of plans for integrating content creators and their
2.5
communities.
minus 5.
Got him,
Those
bro, got him.
features are just not in yet, but we do have a lot of
No
plans
worries,
for.
I got him. He's laying there.
I mean, that's the point of the SDK,
Yeah.
right? Is like we want you to be able to,
No worries, man.
you know, take it, and maybe in your community, maybe you yourself are savvy enough to open up the SDK and make something. Maybe you have people in your community that are developers, amateur, professional, otherwise, and you know,
There
you
we
can
go.
make
Easy
whatever
victory.
you want in there. We do plan on having like integrations and things like that. Absolutely, that is very important just to allow content creators to use it as a platform for them and their community to produce the kind of content they want and monetize it for themselves. We don't care about, like, we're not going to take a cut of that stuff. So, you know, maybe you have a sub squad or something like that. You know, I don't know, whatever you can think of, right? All right, enough about targeting children
what did-
for advertisement, man. We're not going to do
Yeah,
that. I don't know why you keep bringing that up. But
Wait, what is Cammy talking about? Nobody's
I
done
don't
any
know. He's not in
optimization
here,
work?
so he's answering questions that.
Yeah, I
are
don't know why he's answering
being
about
answered,
optimizations when he's not the optimizer. I'm gonna have to.
Well,
Gonna
no,
have
the
to.
questions are fine, Daisy. I was talking to someone else.
Damn.
He created one project.
Well, no, Furious
Oh,
was. I mean,
right.
Furious was talking about how
Hey, this looks
like you
better.
gotta get at the people who play Gmod and GTA Online.
Oh, again, look,
You know,
look,
things like that.
Here's the way you got to think about it, okay? Nobody, like, people. I don't personally expect that in like a year from now, people are gonna be like, oh yeah, bro, fucking go get Operation Harsh Doorstop, whatever. They're gonna see some mod that catches their eye, just like DayZ mod with Arma 2, right? And people are gonna be like, whoa, that was sick. How do I get that? Oh, well, you just gotta go get this game. You know, so I think that ultimately, in the long run, if as long as we build that framework and we make a good ecosystem and atmosphere for like the modding community and those creators, the people will come, right? Kids, adult, whatever, right? Like they will come. You know, we don't need to go and advertise to children. Like that's not something we're gonna do. So I want to go back to TJ's question though, because that is a good question. Users owning the rights to their own created content. Yeah, if you create it, it's yours. We're not going to take your content. I mean, if you make something that should be part of the base game, and you are willing to work with the studio to have it officially incorporated, and it means like we buy it off you or something like that, sure. You know, we are definitely open to that. But it would be a proper contract, exchange of money, you know, so on and so forth. So it's not taking anything.
Yeah, M14 select part. That's where most games. Ooh, that was a headshot. No scope, that was pretty cool. Yeah, most games don't do that.
Yeah, Blue has said this
Man,
on YouTube and even in here. I don't think I need to go any deeper. Goon's pretty much answered that one. But yeah, we're not ever gonna do that shady shit. Some people do, some companies do. That would just go against the mantra that we've been talking about.
We don't put anything officially in the game unless it's bought and paid for.
Yep.
And it's
Everything that is that you see,
and a
Blue
receipt,
is showing.
bill of sale.
Yep. There's a bill of sale.
Yes, Daisy. Map creation is possible. Yes. I don't know, TJ. I don't know anything about Dota.
Yeah, this is a pretty cool spot.
I think that was more of like a likeness kind of thing. You know, because Dota came first, and then League of Legends came after. They were probably trying to see how far they could get with the whole, because for some reason in our world that we live in, people think you can copyright ideas. You can't. Like you cannot copy, not ideas, like game mechanics. So, excuse me, I misspoke.
Patent some things.
You can patent some things, like
the whole patent process.
like here, I'll give you an example. You can't. What was it? There was a game back in the 90s, early 90s, called Desert Strike. Well, that company that built it for Sega had to literally build like a system for. It was a top-down 2.5 isometric, helicopter flight game. They had to build a system.
Yes, we
and
have
they got
lawyers.
and they got
and
to
we don't
patent
make the
that.
Star Wars mod.
Yeah, we do not make the Star Wars mod.
It's not an official part of the game. We don't make any of that stuff.
Yep. And they were able to patent that, and they probably still receive royalties from it. Now, I can technically build a game that mimics like Super Mario, as long as I change all the images and everything, because nobody owns the rights to, you press a button and a character jumps. You can't patent game mechanics, because if that was the case, there'd only be one FPS shooter. There'd be only one 2D platformer. There'd be only one RTS. And even those would be probably broken up because of all the other features that would be copyrighted.
On the topic of the Star Wars thing as well, I mean, any Star Wars mod that comes out using the HD core, it's going to be the same thing as Galactic Contention and Squad. I mean, it's going to exist in the same manner, right? I mean, there's still, you can still go on Workshop right now and go and download Galactic Contention. It's been for years.
And actually, to get to the meta of that, actually, it would not be EA. If that ever did happen, it would not be EA sending a cease and desist. It would be fucking Disney. They own the rights. And actually, EA lost their exclusive right to make Star Wars games. They don't own. EA does not own fucking StarArs.
EA owns World War II. Okay,
okay. Yeah, they own World War II and World War One. Yeah, and Wake Island. Yes, we're kind of poking a little fun at your question, but also this is actually an issue. People really think there are people right now who actually think that they fucking own Wake Island.
OHD is a thing and it's free because you look at a game like Squad or whatever, they don't own the U.S. military, they don't own the M4, they don't own Humvee. They don't own geographically scanned areas in the Middle East that are real places, right? As long as we're not ripping it from their game and we're making it from scratch on our own, there is nothing they can do about that. They also lost against Activision, I believe, for Humvee, so there's also that. Wake Island is a map in Warfare. There's no reason it can't be a map in OHD. Yeah, these companies don't own Wake Island, right? If we're building that from the ground up from scratch, there's, it's like, if anyone owned that, you could argue that you can't make anywhere on planet Earth, right? Wake Island is a real island. Go look it up. Yeah, just Google it.
Wake Island, Midway. Yeah, Wake Island is actually technically U.S. territory, but that doesn't matter. No one owns. I can take a satellite image of Russia if I wanted to. Putin's not going to show up at my frickin' door and be like, "Give me back my images," and I'll be like, "Yeah, go fuck yourself." They steal half our shit anyway. Well, that's why I brought it up, because it's there are people actually think this stuff. And it's gotta stop watching fucking internet memes, man. I mean, fucking Eb. Yeah, he can show up. Better bring some of them Russian women with him, too.
Yeah, Pookie would love it if Putin showed up on his doorstep, dude.
Yeah. Not a fan, but I'd love it. I'd get a kick out of it. how rare would that ever be? You know, the president of Russia, a Russian, showing up at the door of a Polak.
I believe there is a Wake Island Arma 3 map, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
There is?
I think so.
Oh, yeah. I think I'd get a lot of crap if I made any game about the Russian-Ukraine war right now. I have several friends who are either...
Look, I would rather just leave the controversial stuff to modders, honestly.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
make it, man. People are like, oh,
I'm just
Rhodesian
saying, for
Bush
me
Wars.
personally...
Go make it, man. Like, we're not,
Yeah, go make
again,
it.
If you're not violating the terms of service or the EULA of Steam or Epic or whatever, we don't really care, man. So...
No, I was just speaking more on a personal level. Like, yeah, I have friends who are half Ukrainian or full Ukrainian. They get really touchy about the fact, about the whole Russia going into the Crimea and all that.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy.
Understood.
You know, and they have every right to be completely fucking infuriated about it.
Sure, but hey, a piece of history is a piece of history, right? That's why I think the whole argument with 6 days of bleeding, I don't agree with that. Because look, if someone wants to depict a certain angle of that, that's their creative right to do. I don't know. Did people have issue with Picasso when he painted? What was the Spanish word? Guernica, right? I mean, I'm sure some people maybe had a problem. It didn't fucking stop them from doing it, right? I mean, he's depicted, a creation at a point in time that has consequence and meaning. And, if it's done in a tasteful way and it's not just some fucking memey shitpost troll shit, right? Then I think...
Well, that gets into a deeper fundamental discussion about just the lack of fucking respect that most people have in the world for each other. But it's like if you were a normal person, you wouldn't make fun of those kind of things. But hey, we live in a world of memeing. We're memeing. Remember that commercial where it was actually a joke that is like meme college, but memes actually make money. So it's like we live in this world now. But for us as a company, we have to we gotta stray away from that kind of stuff, I feel. But guys...
it's all over the place, though, too. I mean, think about, Band of Brothers when they discover the concentration camps. I mean, if people find it as a controversial topic, it's a very intense subject, right? You're depicting it and trying to make a historical statement.
I would say in that particular case for that
pay
show,
it respect.
Pay it respect. If it is now, see, that's where you have these people who are get mad about those kind of topics. It's like, well, did the person who conveyed it, did they show respect and try to at least give 80% authenticity to it? If not, then they're just shitting on it, and that's where people will have problems. And we all know somebody who has some kind of connection to some world event that happened, so someone's gonna get mad. Just don't go Karen on their ass, because obviously, I mean, for me, descent, I'm a Polish descent. I could go off on anybody about the Holocaust.
Auschwitz and Birkenau in real life. Yeah, I've seen all that stuff.
I mean, my grandma she told me about the inside of Dachau.
This is a disco?
So, yeah. All that shit.
Yeah, I've been to those two. It's very eerie. Very, very eerie.
I mean, dude,